everyone, if you are watching this, welcome back. This is Tika, the Cosmic Witch here. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Major gratitude to all of you guys and you supporters and followers. Really appreciate the support. So today's video, I'm going to be talking about the new moon in Virgo, which is happening tomorrow. So if you are watching this, this is really great timing for you to get yourself prepared for tomorrow's awesome cosmic event. I do have the chart here in front of me. So if you do see me looking down, it's because I do have the chart here and I want to ensure that I'm not missing any important aspects that I really want to talk about. Now, I'm also shuffling cards for us because I will be doing a quick little reading for the collective as well. So yeah, let's get right into it. So Virgo season always brings on this like amazing sweep of energy of out with the old and with the new, which obviously you guys are all very aware of. So that has been happening, I'm sure, for all of you. It's been happening for me, and I feel like a lot of us are coming to these reality checks and also realizing that the things that we thought we wanted are actually not the things that we really do want, and we're kind of coming back to our senses and remembering what it is that we want for ourselves, which is obviously really important, so it's really great. Now, I also wanted to talk about the fact that some of the aspects that we are seeing, yes, there is a lot of trines, which obviously bring on a lot of positivity. However, based on the time of when the moon is happening, depending on where you are, so I am in Ottawa, which is the capital of Canada, the true north. So the new moon is happening at 6:37 Eastern Standard Time in the morning. So for those of you who are living elsewhere that's not on the East Coast or what have you, then you can figure out what time that is for you. But that is the exact time of when the new moon is occurring. And when it is happening at that time, the new moon will be sitting in the 12th house. And actually all the planets that are in Virgo right now will also be in the 12th house at the time of the new moon's occurrence. Now, of course, the houses change every 2 hours, so it's really hard to really keep track of that. But if you're really looking at the official time of when the moon is happening or setting or rising, then you can really get that official number for yourself. So the subconscious mind is really what is ruled by the 12th house. It rules our subconsciousness. It rules the things that we cannot see. And so that being said, with Virgo season, it's very perfectly aligned because we are going to be looking at our internal and really trying to figure out and understand what it is that we need to improve and what it is that we want to attract to ourselves and what is happening internally and how is that reflecting the things that are coming out to us externally in the material world. What does that look like for you, and is it aligned to your higher self, essentially? So the sun and moon are square to Venus and Mars. And so for me, this really means that we really need to be asking ourselves what it is that you want and what work are you really willing to put in for it, okay? And so what are you really willing to put in to receive this abundance that you're asking for? And how honest have you really been with yourself about that? Have you been really doing the work that you say that you're supposed to be doing? Is the actions that you're doing right now, is it really aligned to your higher self? Or are you just doing things and just going through the motions for the sake of saying and showing that you've done something? You know? So like, what are you really doing? Is there something that you would like to tell your higher self that you haven't been honest with yourself about before? So if you know that you've been not honest with yourself and you've been kind of just going with the flow or just going through the motions for the sake of going through the motions, then maybe there's another conversation that needs to happen with you and your higher self, and what does that conversation look like? Now, that being said, you don't need to be judging yourself too heavily. There's no need for that. There's no need to feel shame. We are all here. We are all divine beings having this human experience. So be gentle with yourself. Be compassionate with yourself. You don't need to be so harsh on yourself. It's okay. And also, the things that you are saying yes to, understand that they are a reflection of you yourself. So again, Venus and Mars are both in Virgo at this time, yes, and so at the time of the new moon, it is happening in the 12th house. So the things that you're being attracted to right now, the things that you were saying yes to, they are a reflection of your internal subconscious and a real reflection of you yourself and where you are physically, energetically, like where you are. And so that being said, are you satisfied with how you look? What does that look like for you? And are you satisfied with it? Okay. Now, the Sun, Moon, Venus, and Mars are also trine to Saturn. And so for me, this is major, 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 because I feel like a lot of us this year, we've been going through this really, the collective has been going through a really interesting spiritual journey, yes, but also just a journey of understanding who they are as a better person and understanding the environments that they're in and what role that they play in those environments. And so with this aspect, it really reminds us that we really need to release and surrender completely surrender and release the idea that you are in control. Okay, we have no choice at this point. The universe is completely taking back control, and there is not a damn thing we can do about it. So whether you like it or not, it's happening, okay? Now, you need to ask yourself again, how committed truly are you to the things that you say that you want to desire, okay? How important is this outcome to you? If it's important to you and it's meant to happen, then there's no need to really force it, right? There's no need for us to have to force and push our way through those doors. If you feel like you have to push yourself through the doors, if you feel like you have to push yourself in the frame of other people because they're not seeing you and they're not hearing you, then understand this. People's lack of response is a response, okay? And that's really hard to swallow, I know, and it can be really hurtful, but it's true. People's lack of response is also a response. So if you feel like you are having to push yourself and really put yourself out there because you feel like you're not being heard and you're trying to, overly give, and like really pushing yourself to the point where you're like, okay, I'm being an extrovert now, which is not naturally who I am, and I'm still not getting a response. That is a response, sis. It's not the response that you want, but it's still a response, okay? So understand that too. Now, I understand that as well, that what is meant for you will come to you. So right now might not be the time. The trines are a time where we're not really doing too much action, but things are more positive and just happening as they are. And so with the trine to Saturn and Venus, with Mars, we need to remind ourselves of that, and that the idea that we don't have complete control over these things. And so we need to trust the universe at this point and trust that whatever she has in mind for us is going to work out in its favor anyway, which usually it does, and we just don't see it right now, and that's okay too, okay? But just trust yourself that you will get to the right point that you need to get to. Now, Venus and Mars are both opposition to Neptune. And so I want to remind everyone that Neptune has been, it's always in the cosmos, but the aspects of Neptune, I feel, have been more and more relevant and much more present in the day-to-day life now than they were before in the last, I would say, 6 months. So we're still seeing a lot of aspects with Neptune now. And so with this one, I want to talk about the fact that your dreams can come true the way that you imagine them to be, but there needs to be a balance, okay? There needs to be a balance between the actual manifesting that you're doing and the actual physical work and actions that you are doing. And understand that movement is required. Yes, it's important to know what it is that you want, but it's not enough to just think it. Movement and action needs to take place as well. And you need to also understand that just because you're taking some action doesn't mean that you should be as well at the same time, okay? And I know this is going to sound really confusing because you're like, well, wait a second, Tika, you just said that we shouldn't be taking any action. Yes, you should not be taking action if it's not the right time. Everyone's journey is different, okay? So what is Spirit saying to you? What are your guides saying to you? What are your ancestors saying to you? Ask them. They will tell you where you need to go and what you should be doing at this point, okay? And so you need to understand that you don't need to do so much all the time, and you do not need to say yes to the first thing that shows up either, okay? And I've been mentioning this a lot because I feel like people at this point, they're doing a lot of work, and maybe you feel like all this work that you're doing is not really paying off, or you're being impatient and you're realizing that things in the spiritual and 5D world do not work as quickly or as you may wish them to in the 3D realm, and that's okay. Okay, spirit world works completely different. Manifestations, they will come true, they will come through when it is time. Okay, so you don't need to say yes to everything. Not everything that is happening right now is for your best interest. And because there's an opposition to Venus with Neptune and Mars, it really says that we really shouldn't be taking these actions right away and saying yes to the first thing that we see on our mind that's being offered to us, but really think about if this is really aligned to you, and is this the right time to be saying yes, okay? And understand that you don't always do your best work under pressure. Now, a lot of people think that because they work under pressure, their best results come out because they're moving really quickly. That might not be always the case for you. What would happen if you were to take your time? What would happen if you were to really take your time and go through the motions and go through the journey step by step by step? What are you afraid of? What are you afraid of that you will see along the way if you were to take your time? Because there's a chance that the things that you are rushing right now, which is your journey onto what it is you're trying to manifest right now, you're getting there. You're already on the journey, whether you see it or not, whether you see it as movement or not, you already are on the journey, because the fact that you have thought it and you put it out there in the universe, you are already on your journey, okay? However, just because you are does not mean you need to be running to the end result, okay? You're not going to be able to do that. Just because you tell yourself, I'm ready, I'm ready, I'm ready, I'm ready, I'm ready, I'm ready. So what? The universe has spoken, and it's saying, no, you are not. You think you are, but you are not, okay? And the next steps I want to talk about really supports this, and that is that the sun and the moon and Mercury and Venus and Mars and Saturn, they are all trine to Uranus right now. Okay, so again, lots of trines. I told y'all what hella trines happening. So sometimes this reminds me that sometimes that change is not always fast. And so the previous aspect with the opposition really reminds us of that as well. And so sometimes the change is really slow. And when it is really slow, understand that it is for your best interest. Okay, Spirit is asking you to move slower because it's in your best interest. Now, we may think that we are ready for something, like I said so before, but that doesn't mean that in reality we actually are. The next stage is going to require much more of you. And so if you are moving with what you think your intentions are in mind, and you are moving forward but not really thinking about your higher self, then everything that you are manifesting right now along this journey at the moment is going to manifest as your lower vibrated self, because that is where you are at the moment. So all this internal work that we need to be doing really needs to be taking place now, okay? Our subconscious is asking us to tune in and to connect within and really ask ourselves what it is that we truly want and how much work are we really willing to do for it, okay? Now, it's great that you have all these really great big ideas and things that you want to manifest and plant seeds for, but again, does your internal match where you think you want to be? And it probably doesn't. Or maybe you think it does, and that's great. I'm happy you had the confidence. That's great, because the confidence is necessary too. But are you being realistic right now? What internal changes need to be done right now? Okay? What internal changes are you willing to make? That's the Via Rail again. What internal changes are you willing to make to receive your blessings? Because the internal change that you need to make will allow you to receive that abundance. And until you make those internal changes, you're not going to receive the fulfillment that you wish to have. If you kind of sort of think you know what you want, then you're going to receive kind of sort of half-assed results. And that's on that, okay? Now, understand there's a difference between the intentions and the physical action. The intention is up here. The intention is the Fool card. The intention tells us, okay, I know what I think I want. I'm going to create this thought, and I'm going to just let it plant in my head and kind of play it in my head to kind of see what happens. But the physical action of the magician and realizing that we have the tools to make it happen is a different ballgame. So yes, the intentions are there, and the actions are there. But action does not always mean physical actions happening outside on the outside world. Actions also require you to look and act internally and really do the work there too. And mostly right now. That is what Virgo season is about. The external must match the internal. If it doesn't, then you're not going to receive in-depth results. You're going to receive shallow, hollow results, because that's all that is within. Now, the last aspect I want to remind everyone about, which I talked about before, is the Jupiter squared Neptune, okay? So again, deception is still in the air, sort of. Now, again, we also have to remember that this means that we are being really optimistic, we are being really positive about the outcomes of things, but we need to ensure that we are still being balanced with reality versus the dream world, okay? How many things are you seeing in your dreams that you're seeing in your physical reality? Probably not many things. And if you're just kind of waking up and going, oh, that was nice, oh, I hope it happens, and then nothing happens, then what do you expect? Nothing happens and nothing happens, right? So when you're seeing these opportunities coming up to you in this next shift of the new moon, ask yourself if you really feel in your heart, in your womb, ladies, is this the right move that you should be taking? Because if it's not felt there, if it's not felt in your heart, it's not felt in your soul, it's not felt in your spirit, if it doesn't twinkle your spirit, then you really shouldn't be doing it to begin with. It's not your time, okay? Something might, just because something is glitter, don't mean it's gold. Okay? So really understand what that means for you, and understand and dissect what that means for yourself, okay? So those are the aspects piece I want to talk about in regards to the new moon in Virgo. Now I'm just going to pull some cards for the collective to really discuss kind of what everyone's going through right now. This video is going to be a lot longer than I thought it was, but too bad. I'm sure y'all are happy with that. Okay, so I'm seeing right now what we're receiving is the 5 of Cups, the 6 of Wands, and the 7 of Pentacles, which is really great. That's really great things to see. Now, with these cards together, I will say that some of us will be connecting with our internal roots again. So yes, that is really important. So if you feel like, oh, I said the 5 of Cups, it's actually the 6 of Cups, my bad. Sorry, guys. So the 6 of Cups, the 7 of Wands, and the 6 of Cups, the 7 of Wands, and the 8 of Pentacles. So we are really trying to connect with our roots, trying to connect back to that ancestral realm, trying to connect back to our original state of mind, and coming back to what our first and original form was. Now, for those of you who are empaths, brujos who are practicing, you may feel like myself that you've been here many times before, and that could be the case. And so there is some karmic behavior and patterns that we need to kind of go through. And with the new moon being in the 12th house at the time when the new moon is occurring, this is very true, yes, because we need to understand that the subconscious mind is still up in space, still on Neptune, and so we need to kind of bring it back down here and understand, okay, what have I done so far that's different from where I was 6 months ago? What lessons from the previous retrogrades are being shown now that are going to be dissolved, okay? What do I need to unlearn now? What is still being brought to my attention? And whatever it is going to require you to be independent and do the work yourself. So if you're leaning on other people to kind of help you with your abundance and your creations, it's okay to ask for help, but understand that your vision is only your vision, and only you can give that to yourself. Now, I'm not saying you should do everything on your own, because obviously there are certain things that you just cannot do on your own, and that is okay. You don't have to do everything on your own. However, you do need to stand on your 2 feet, because no one else is going to do that for you, okay? So no more of this passive nonsense, wishy-washy nonsense. You know what you want to do, so just do it. And roll up your sleeves, get ready to roll up your sleeves, because now's the time to do all the hand-me-down work, okay? And by doing so with the Eight of Pentacles, we are reminded that our craft, that thing that is your passion, it will bloom through, okay? So once you've done the internal work, and you've realized and you've looked at what it is that is a karmic pattern for you, what it is that has been repeating itself for the last few months for yourself, you know, maybe during the eclipse seasons, what is that lesson, and have you learned that lesson yet? And how is that showing up for you now? How are the results from that lesson showing up for you now, okay? Are you doing the internal work to get there? This is what this is really saying. Are you doing the internal work to get there? Are you doing the internal work to make sure that the message does not repeat itself and that the lesson doesn't repeat itself? And if so, then it should show in your benefits of following your highest excitement and working on your craft and really focusing on your craft right now. So again, do the internal work first, guys. Really reflect on the last 6 months of the year. I know this is a huge shift coming up. Still, we're going through a lot of interesting things right now. So yes, look at where you were the last 6 months. What lessons have you been learning from these retrogrades, okay? Mercury retrograde, what have you learned from that retrograde? It will be coming back in retrograde soon, so what have you learned in the last time? What patterns have been repeating for yourself? How do they look now? How do those lessons that have been learned look now? Are you still learning those lessons? And if so, what internal work have you been doing to get there? And how is that internal lesson and work that you're doing, how does it reflect the outside? And if it doesn't reflect the outside, then how can you become more aligned so that you can elevate yourself to that point that you want to be at? Okay, so I know that was really long and it might have been a little confusing. I really hope that it wasn't. So thank you so much for tuning in. And yeah, let me know how your rituals go. If you are doing any ritual work for this new moon, I would highly recommend connecting to earth and water. That are the 2 elements I've really been feeling that we need to connect to. Yes, because earth, a lot of the planets are in the earth signs, but also the water element to really help ourselves understand that we don't have to be totally grounded and rooted in our insecurities. We are allowed to flourish outside of that, and we are allowed to have fluid movement. Emotions are energy, and energy is movement. It needs to be fluid, it needs to move and flow, okay? So although we're seeing all these interesting aspects of do some movement on the internal, what have you been doing, don't do this, do that, also make sure that you're not being really harsh on yourself and on others simply because they do not see what you are seeing, or simply because they do not feel what you are feeling, okay? So I say good luck to you with that, and yeah, let me know how it goes. Let me know if this video is helpful to you. Let me know if you like this video, if you want to see more videos like this, if you want to see more videos of aspects of the cosmos with tarot cards, yay or nay. Let me know how this card message resonates with you in regards to doing the work of your roots, your ancestral roots, your realm, your karma realm, all those things, what karma patterns are happening for you in the 5D realm, how they are showing up in the 3D realm, what independent work you're doing for yourself, and how is that showing up in your craft and in your work and in your skills. For myself, I will be doing my own ritual probably tonight because I will be going back out of town again for the weekend. So yeah, so I will be keeping it a little low, but if any of you guys are looking for readings to do for the new moon in regards to the subconscious of what you need to be heard and told, I will be available for that as well. If you have any questions about what herbs or candle magic you want to use, or any sort of magic you want to use, you know where to find me. And thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you guys have a lovely and beautiful and gentle new moon in Virgo. It is a super moon, so although it will be dark, it is a super moon. So yes, it does have these like full moon type qualities, which honestly I love at a new moon because it just feels like the energy is just like so extra fresh. And honestly, I can't wait for us to open up our eyes on that new moon day and see how bright the sun is and how great and flourishing everything is around us as well. And Virgos, if you are here, hello. I hope you guys are doing okay, and let me know how this aspect and shift is for you as well. And yeah, I will talk to you in my next video. Thank you so much for tuning in. Bye.